Hello, I'm William with Alamo Roofing Contractors, and today I'd like to help you choose the perfect roofing ventilation system. Several different types of ventilation systems are out there, so we'll start with the 550 vent, or otherwise known as the box vent or turtle vent. Sits on top of your roof. We actually have one over here. It's black. There's some brown ones on this roof over here. Those are little box vents. I don't necessarily recommend those because in the wintertime up here in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland, we do have a lot of snow. When you have wind and snow that gets up on the roof, it's gonna form right behind that turtle vent. And there's very little space between that and your shingles. So snow gets right behind there. And as it melts a little bit during the day and it refreezes at night and there's more snow, there's a greater potential of risk that you can actually have snow, moisture, everything get right into your attic space. So I'm not a big fan of those. Plus, there's not really a filter in there to keep bugs and other debris out. So next, I'd like to talk with you about the 750 vent, or otherwise known as the slant back vent. It sits flat on your roof and it has a slant back, which goes up towards the peak or your ridge of your roof. And this allows snow to form and go all the way around it. And it also has vents that are on the front and the sides that make it perfect to where wind-driven rain, wind-driven snow, critters, bugs, they can't get into those types of ventilation vents. Next, we have ridge vent. So on the very top of your roof, kind of like what you see here behind us, it's raised about ½ an inch, maybe even an inch. What happens is, for adequate ventilation on a roof style like this, you cut 3/4 of an inch on both sides of the ridge. Then you put the ridge vent up there, which allows for adequate ventilation going out. And then you have the shingles that go on top of that, protect it, and it kind of hides it and blends it in all together. So that's a fantastic ventilation system. Next, we also have something called solar vents. So you can put a solar vent on your roof. Say if you have a hip type roof, you don't have a whole lot of area on the ridge that you could put a ridge vent, and you'll have to put several of the 550 vents or the slant back vents on your roof. The more roof penetrations you have on your roof, the greater chance there is to have leaking. We don't recommend getting a whole lot of vents, a whole lot of things on your roof. The less, the better. Let's say you have a 20 square roof and it's a hip style roof. We'll put that on the back, hidden away from curb appeal, and as soon as the sun hits that, it's drawing out all of the air. So it creates a little fan on the inside and it draws out all the hot air and then it disperses out. There's another ventilation system. It's called the whirlybird. That's a different type of ventilation system, and we do have some around here. On the back side of your home, you'll have, it's like a 12-inch pipe that sticks up, and then at the top, there's a tornado effect happening. It's a little ventilation system, so when it gets too hot, the heat goes up and it causes it to spin. And also on a windy day, it's moving that all the way around. So it's really drawing all of the moisture, all the humidity, all the heat from your roof out. But all this to say, you also have to have good insulation for your roof as well. One other thing is your soffit ventilation. Some homes we've run into do not have any eaves. And so an eave is an area like what this is behind me, where your gutter sits on, and then you have to have an area where the eave comes out, and then you can have little soffit vents in there. So that's your intake system. So your positive air flow goes through that, it gets sucked in, and it goes up into your attic space. And if you have good adequate airflow and ventilation, at the top is going to be negative pressure. The air is actually drawing out the vacuum effect, coming in through the soffit, going out through the top of the roof where the other ventilation systems would be. So that's how your ventilation system works. But if you do not have any eaves, we have a new product. It's called Lamanco Deck Air. Really cool product. So what we do is we go up a couple of feet above the bottom of the roof where the eaves are, typically anywhere between 3 to 5 foot. We'll cut a hole, stick the new vent in there, and we'll cover the top of that with the shingles, and now that is your positive airflow. So air is now going in the bottom portion where we just put the deck air ventilation system, and now the air is going through there up into your attic space and outside of your vent. For me, the top two choices of any sort of ventilation system that's best for your home, probably either going to be the ridge vent or a solar attic vent. Thank you.